Hello and welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm your host, Morgan. Today we're going to be doing something a little different, something we're kind of trying out. So we're going to be looking at some of the headlines that kind of caught my interest over the previous month, so over end of January throughout February. And none of these really had enough for me to feel like they warranted a full video, so we're just going to kind of look at these articles real quick today. So let's get into this. The first article we're going to be looking at today is kind of an update on the whole gray wolf saga since they've been taken off of the federal list of endangered and threatened species. If you want the full story, please check out the wolf playlist on my channel. And if that is not linked in the description below, my apologies in advance. So on February 11th, 2021, Judge Bennett Brantmeyer ruled in favor of Hunter Nation Incorporated, stating that the Department of Natural Resources in Wisconsin must hold a wolf hunting and trapping season before the end of February, now that they have been removed from the endangered species list. So if we remember from before, Wisconsin is a state that actually has a law on the books stating that there must be a wolf hunting and trapping season that runs from November to the end of February, anytime they're not listed as an endangered species at the federal level. Now, since they've been delisted, they lost the protection of the Endangered Species Act in January. The Department of Natural Resources in Wisconsin planned to basically hold off till November since it was towards the end of that required season. Unsurprisingly, the Hunter Nation Incorporated, which is basically a hunting group that's actually not based in Wisconsin, but that's neither here nor there for this particular story, of course took them to court because they're pretty pissed off that they don't get to go shoot wolves in the few weeks that they had to shoot wolves. So this ruling basically resulted in a wolf hunting season in February that ran from the 22nd to the 28th, and any hunters interested had to get their applications submitted from February 16th to 20th. So it was a very short hunting and trapping season, and this is unsurprising to me, but honestly, it wasn't enough information to make an entire wolf update video on, since this is really the only information we have, the only big thing that's happened. So what can stop this from happening again in November when they would run the season for the full season of November to February? Well, the only thing that can really stop it is gray wolves need to be added back to that federal list of endangered and threatened species. And that's the update there. So let's move on to something a little more cheery now that we've gotten the upsetting wolf update out of the way. The next article we're going to look at is from Science Daily, and it's about a study that looked at butterfly wings and how they actually work, since butterflies kind of, when you first glance at them, they're not that aerodynamic, and when you think about it, they don't exactly have the best shape for flight. So researchers basically studied butterfly flight in a wind tunnel for the first time and figured out why the inefficient design of their wings is not actually inefficient. So basically when the wings flap up, they end up cupping and an air pocket is formed. When those wings collide together, that air is then forced out and the butterfly is sent forward. Then the downward beat of the wings keep them in the air and give them that upward lift. And that was exciting for the researchers because they were able to kind of make prototypes of mechanical things that mimicked that flight and actually worked. So this discovery opens up whole new avenues for exploration for flight technology, since a lot of technology we have is actually just mimicking things that are found in nature. So this is pretty exciting because, one, butterflies are not inefficient. Their wing design is not kind of a fluke of evolution. And there's a whole new area for flight technology to explore now. The next article we're going to look at is exciting because it's about the vehicle company GM and their promise to achieve carbon neutrality by 2024. Now, this is an exciting thing because as part of this promise, they are going to eliminate the production of gas-powered light-duty vehicles by 2035. So in 14 years, yes, 14. My math is hopefully correct. If it's not correct, don't let me know. I don't want to know. And by 2025, so just a few years from now, they expect 40% of all of their new vehicles to not be gas-powered. And along with their vehicles that they're going to be manufacturing, all of their US manufacturing sites are going to run off of renewable energy by 2030, and then globally by 2035, all of their manufacturing sites are also planned to be running off of renewable energy. And we're also seeing, since I noticed the General Motors promise, we're seeing other vehicle companies as well come out with very similar promises. And this is exciting because, at least in the United States, the general public seem to be very apprehensive, is the nice word I'm going to use today, of electric vehicles and moving away from gas-powered anything. So it's exciting to see that car companies are making the decision for us to move towards the greener energy. And I'm excited to see what happens. I'm excited to see electric vehicles become more affordable because of as of right now, electric vehicles are out of most people's price range just because they're kind of a novelty still. I mean, we have the Tesla, we have a few other individual models in specific manufacturers kind of catalog of vehicles, but they're priced as a novelty almost. So as we're seeing more non-gas powered vehicles pop up, that's going to drive the availability of public charging stations. It's going to drive the price to become more affordable because of all of the demand and all of that marketing stuff. And it's exciting to see, especially as someone who is a hypocrite who does drive an SUV, but at least my SUV gets about 30 miles to the gallon. But still, I am excited to see what's going to happen with the electric vehicle technology moving forward now that the motor vehicle companies are starting to make the decision for us. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I actually support this very much. Now that we've talked a little bit about privately owned vehicles and the future for that, let's talk about public transit and how it's the one industry that millennials aren't killing. Because if you ask boomers, evidently my generation is killing chain restaurants and pet food brands like Pedigree that don't actually have the best ingredients for your pets. Public transit is not being killed by millennials. Evidently, public transit is actually starting to get a little bit of a jump because millennials would rather have a functioning public transit than have to own a vehicle and deal with everything that comes with that. Now, I know that at least in some places, there are very good public transportation services out there, like New York with their subway system and all that, and on the East Coast of the United States and other countries, public transit is more normalized. I come from California, where our public transit is, we have some buses, and San Diego County has Sprinter, and there's some trains and things, but they're unreliable at best most of the time. And honestly, I know a lot of people in my generation, myself included, of course this is anecdotal, that would love to have the option to take public transit for everyday trips and not have to waste the gas in our own cars if we just need to run down to Target for toothpaste. So this is a short and sweet one, but it's very interesting to see how public transit is thought of in different generations, especially since in our parents' generation it was a big deal to own your own car and nobody wanted to take the bus. And we're seeing it kind of come full circle, because opting to take public transportation versus your own vehicle reduces carbon emissions and is better on the environment, is better for the planet, and also it's less pricey. Owning a car is not the dream come true that a lot of people probably think it is. Let's move on to our last article that I want to look at that I didn't really want to make into its own video. Full disclosure, I could have done an entire video just on this one, but it really would have just been more of me ranting about oil. So this one is all about how President Biden signed an executive order that halts the sale of new oil and gas leases on federal public lands. So one thing I've noticed that goes along with this article is people freaking out about this particular executive order being signed, hyperbolic claims that this is going to be very detrimental to the United States, that what the heck is happening, our gas prices are going to rise, and blah, 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 because this is going to stop all oil drilling. First of all, that's not correct. This executive order doesn't stop any drilling and extraction on private or state lands, just federally owned lands. And most oil drilling, most natural gas extraction happens on private and state-owned land. So pump the brakes there on that for a little bit. And it also doesn't stop drilling or anything from already happening operations. It just stops the sale of new leases. So any leases that were sold prior to this order being signed, they're still fine. Like nothing has really happened to them. It's just this particular executive order says that we're not going to rape our federal public lands with new drilling. And this order is a good thing because it includes a push for more green energy, and it is part of some things that are going to set a foundation for a greener future. But we also need states to begin following this federal example, because it's just one puzzle piece in a greater picture. And that's all I really want to say about this one. And now that Odie is yelling, it's time to wrap this up. All of the articles I talked about are in the description down below if you want to click on them and go take a look at them as well. Like I said, this was just a new thing that I'm kind of trying out because there were quite a few headlines that I saw that I didn't want to make a full video on, but I still kind of wanted to talk about them. So I hope you have a wonderful rest of your morning, afternoon, day, evening, night, what have you, and I will see you all in the next one. Thank you again for watching this video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell if you would like to see more. And if you'd like to follow me on any of my other social medias, the links are down in the description below. Don't forget to check out thereptilegoth.com for all of my articles and blog posts. If you found any value in this video and you would like to help support the channel, please check out my Patreon page. That link is also in the description down below. And a special thanks goes out to my Diamond Dragon patron, Diane B. What you're doing is really helping me fund a dream here. I will see you guys all in the next one.